long time no see. Totally on me. I've been a bad YouTuber. But I promise I'm gonna get better. Hi everybody. I do apologize for the lag since my last videos. I'm really trying to establish a routine. I don't know if I mentioned, but I do work, so I have to work as priority. This is second. Actually probably falls like third or fourth, but my New Year's resolution, I'm making them early, is to really establish a schedule so that I get very good about posting regularly. So I owe you like a million stories, and forget about trying to make them. I was trying to tell the stories and release them exactly on the day, but let's just forget that whole thing. The stories stand up regardless of when they actually happened in time. So going back to past videos, I shared that I lost my mirror, then I lost my little door, and then I don't remember what else happened after that, but the good stuff, hey, what are you eating? Don't eat weird things. The dogs are here as always. So let me tell you a little story. Speaking of dogs, come here, Shelby. Let's talk about Shelby. I hope she's in the shot. So remember I told you guys that this really started when I was up in Big Bear, and Shelby I got as a puppy, and she's gonna be 4, so I guess when this was going on she was around 2. Anyway, I had a house, but I was going up and spending a month and longer up in Big Bear, and one of the things I did was I dragged around this pillow that she likes to lay on, and dog beds. Anyway, what basically was happening was Shelby was peeing on the dog beds, and I buy the cheap kind, so you can't really wash them, like you can't unzip them and take the stuffing out, so I was just throwing them away, and then I got a pillow and that was easier to wash. Anyway, she wasn't peeing anywhere else, just on the dog beds and the pillow, and I kind of made up that what she was trying to communicate was that she was marking, and it's because I kept changing her environment, so like she didn't know where she lived, and I think that was really kind of stressful and hard on her. And when we moved aboard the RV, I was really worried because now it's not convenient to be, you know, just going to my hallway to wash laundry. So anyway, that's important to the story that she had a history of peeing on the pillows. That's all resolved now, so that's my feedback, that she's adjusted really nicely to RV living. Wesley was never a problem. He's a rescue, and so I think he's ultra accommodating, because somewhere in the back of his mind is like, please don't give me away. I'll do whatever you want. Please just don't put me back into the foster care of America for dogs. So anyway, keep that in mind. So here's what happened. Being in the RV, I really wanted to be somewhere cold and wintry, and this is a good example of my favorite way to dress is leggings and Uggs and sweaters. Like if I could dress like this every day, which I kind of do, I'm like the happiest camper ever. So I was going up to Washington, Oregon and Washington, and I had to hang out in Northern California last year, not 18, but 2017, you know, around Thanksgiving time. And waiting for the weather to be nice enough so I could go over the Siskiyou Pass, which is a whole nother story, into Oregon and then on to Washington. And basically I was waiting the weather out. But in the meantime, I was enjoying myself around Northern California. And I went to one of my all-time favorite Thousand Trails parks. Remember, I'm a Thousand Trails girl. You know that from the video I did with Bob Wells on cheap RV living. And so one of my most favorite parks is called Ponderosa. And it is about 50 miles east of Sacramento. And it's part of the park, well, the whole park is on the American River. And for $5 extra a night, which is totally worth it, you can pay to be right on the river. And so that was awesome. I could just back up my rig. I happened to have a big back window, and so I just opened my window and like, oh, there was the river. It was fantastic. And it was cold and rainy, and there's ducks. And anyway, it was fantastic. So it'd been a hard time, you know, getting to that point. Oh, I know what I missed, the whole furnace story. Okay, well, I'm going to keep going with this story. Next video, I'll backtrack to the furnace story because that preceded this. But we're just going to have fun going out of order. Stories are stories. So I get up there and I think I finally have things resolved and settled down. And here I have this fantastic spot. I have this beautiful view out my back window. I open the vent and I think even the windows a little bit, and I hear the water rushing, and oh my God, I just couldn't be happier. And then it starts to rain. And so my first night there, I go to sleep and I hear the water and it's pitter pattering on the roof. And oh, this is what I wanted the whole time when I was in my RV. This was the experience. I just was the happiest camper ever. So go to sleep, and around 2 in the morning, I wake up and the bed is wet. And I'm like, oh God, Shelby's peed on the bed, which that's a new one because previous to that, she's only peed on dog beds and pillows. Now she freaking peed on my bed. And of course, this is a park that doesn't do laundry. Hey, I can't tell a story when you bark like that. Hi. Quiet. Quiet. We're working on this so that they don't hate us at the RTR and the WRTR. So anyway, but then I feel around a little bit and Shelby's sopping wet. Now that's a new one because normally my dog doesn't pee all over herself. So I sit up and I turn on the light and the whole back window is just crying. The whole wall. I'm like, oh my God. So I totally panic. I don't know what to do. It's 2 in the morning. The back window is just leaking everywhere. My bed is sopping wet. My bedding is sopping wet. So I think, what am I going to do? So I had some of those blue tarps. So I've never been up on the roof. I make everybody else go up on the roof on my behalf, but I had no choice. So I go up and I climb up on the roof in the rain, and I put the tarp out, and I, you know, did my best job anyway. And I figured, like, this is all I can do to get through to morning. And when I go back inside, somehow I have now made it even worse, which I don't even know how that's possible. And I am just calling every mobile repairman saying, I know it's like in the middle of the night, but when you come in the morning, can you please call me? I don't know what to do. My whole back window's leaking and it's raining and there's going to be more rain and I don't know what to do. So I leave all these messages, and in the morning, this wonderful mobile mechanic, Chris, he calls me back, and although he was a mobile mechanic, he also had a shop. So he said, bring it on in. And so in the rain, I, you know, get up at like 7 or 8 in the morning, I don't remember, drive down there. We spend the whole day in the shop, and he takes one look and he says, it's not your window. Your window is fine, but the caulking on the roof, here's a tip for you buying older RVs. The caulk on the roof was bathroom grade caulk. not the heavy-duty weatherproof. Who puts weather-grade caulk on the roof of an RV? Are you freaking kidding me? Of course, par for the course with this one. Remember, I said there's a special place in hell for the guy who sold me this RV. This is yet another one of the reasons why I say this. So Chris had to manually, with a razor, gouge out all the crumbly caulk. And that's another thing, mind you. I had paid for a inspector. I had my handyman, who I love my handyman, but I can't believe this. And all of those people said the roof looked great. Nobody ever went and touched the caulk, because had they done that, it would have crumbled in their hands and would have revealed itself to be the wrong kind of caulk right off the bat, because it should be more rubbery. And anyway, I hope if something like this crosses your path, you can learn from my mistake, which is part of the reason, beyond being entertaining, I want to share my learning so that hopefully you can have completely different learnings. So he had to go with a razor blade the whole entire roof and gouge out this crappy caulk and then put the correct kind in. And side story, what happened when I put the tarp up is somehow I had managed, because of the way the RV was positioned or something, I actually created a channel that drove even more water to the back of the RV. Oh, the actual leak, since it wasn't the window, was this end cap piece. So anyway, I don't even want to tell you how much money that cost me, because Chris charges by the hour. And yes, there are those of you who will do that kind of stuff yourself. I am not at that stage yet. I'm still at the pay somebody to do these types of things. So he fixes that for me. And, oh, this is good. I'm okay. You know why? Because the furnace story is going to tie into this. Because, okay, perfect. Oh, you're going to wait till next time when I talk to you about the whole furnace. But anyway, okay, so he fixes that. And we're at the shop the whole day. And, of course, I have, my bedding is sopping. So I call a local, like, taxi guy, and I made friends with him. His name was, I want to say his name was Corey. I think his name was Corey. Anyway, he's a doll, and he came and got me, and he took me and bags. We had took all my laundry in like gigantic heavy duty garbage bags, because I didn't have a way to take all this bedding and every towel I used, and oh my god. And so he took me to a laundromat, and he drops me off, and thank God I have good karma with people, but there were some sketchy people in that laundromat. And the reason being, like, at first I was like, uh-oh, like, this isn't probably good. But it was raining, and so there were homeless people, and they needed to be out of the rain. So they were taking shelter inside the laundromat because it was open. And of course, nobody hurt me, and they were very nice. It just, not something I'm used to. That was a new experience. Anyway, so I get all my bedding done. And then we have fans running, because, you got to try to get the carpet and under the bed. Oh my God, what a mess. Anyway, he fixes me all up. I wonder if I spent the night there or not. I have spent so many nights in Chris's parking lot that I don't even remember which ones go with which repairs. But anyway, suffice to say, he fixed me up. And whether it was that night or the next night, I was back up at Ponderosa. I was back on the river. It was still raining, and I stayed dry. But you will not believe what happened next. So tune in next time, and we'll talk about my furnace stories. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.